Hey friends, it's Missy. I'm back again. Thanks so much for joining me today. This layout is for the Paige Evans design team, and our theme this week is big titles. And I'm really excited to share this layout because I love big titles. It's one of my favorite, I guess you could call it a technique, but I like it because it sort of just takes up a lot of space, and so it kind of helps your layout come together quicker because it's so big and you just have so much space left to put everything. And so this is going to be my background. This is paper 21 from Oh My Heart, and I like it because it's a lot of white space. It's got tiny little hearts on it. It makes a really good background. And I've already cut my title on my silhouette, and I'm going to do this on the mat before I peel it off. This is just white acrylic paint, and sometimes I use that instead of gesso. It covers a little bit quicker, and the finish is very smooth as opposed to the gesso, which can be kind of gritty. And they're both great. It just depends on the look that I'm going for. And so for this one, I went with the white acrylic paint, and so my surface is nice and slick and smooth. Now I stretched my title across the entire page, and it's going to be fabulous. And I just created that. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's just a scripty font that I have in my Silhouette software, and I just enlarged it and tilted it and stretched it so it would cut across the entire page and kind of run off the page. And my Silhouette mat is pretty sticky. I've used it for several weeks now, but I don't know, this one, the last Silhouette mat that I bought, it seems like the sticky, whatever they used to make the sticky is totally different than it used to be. The paper peels off differently, and there's a lot of stickiness on the back of the paper when I peeled it off, so it's kind of already sticking to this background paper here. And this is paper 8, and I haven't used this paper. I think I may have used it for something for another design team, but I hadn't used it yet that I can remember. And I love that yellow to light pink to dark pink gradient, and I thought it would make a really pretty background for the cut file. And so since my word cut across the entire page, you know, it cut the white paper completely in half. So I'm just going to glue it back down onto this gradient paper, and so now my word is covered, and I love how that looks. And so now what I was talking about earlier is how this is a good technique is, see, now I cannot move this title. It is where it is, and everything that I add to it is going to have to go around it. And I like doing that because it kind of helps you decide where to put things. And I thought I was going to use 2 pictures, but I changed my mind, and I'm going to go with a vertical picture and a bit bigger of a picture. And surprise, surprise, it's a pool picture. I seriously think I could scrap for the rest of eternity with pool pictures and never run out. And so this is yet another pool picture, which kind of determines my color scheme. And you know my favorite colors probably, because I talk about them a lot, are these 3 colors that you see here. So what I decided to do to jazz up this background was go for gelatos, and they smudge and smear and blend so easily on the white acrylic paint, and they also smudge nicely on top of gesso. It's just a different feel, and it's a different finish and texture. Since the background is smooth, these just smudged super easy. I didn't even have to add any water. Sometimes with the gesso, I might dip my finger in some water just to give it a little bit of help. But with the paint, it's so nice and smooth that I just scribbled the gelato on and then just smudge it with my finger. And I'm able to blend an aqua color with this turquoise blue. I'm going to add a little bit of pink and yellow, mainly the 3 colors that you see. I'm just going to try to add color, like the yellow where there isn't any yellow, and then add the blue around the pink, just so the colors are spread around. And then the yellow color in the paper is kind of more of a mustardy yellow, and I don't have that color of gelato, so what I'm going to do is use a bright yellow one and then use that golden color. It's like a dark metallic gold, and smudge it on top of the bright yellow, and it's going to make that perfect mustardy yellow color. And now I'm just going to kind of keep going around the word here, and it's going to make the word stand out a little bit more because the word is only yellow and pink, and so the blue is really going to help make it pop. And I love adding this color blue to pool photo layouts because obviously the water in the picture is blue, and I just love the blue because it just sort of looks like water on the page, and so that's always a fun thing to add, and I think it always looks pretty and emphasizes the theme of the picture. So I'm going to keep going. I love how this is looking, and this is a totally different look than the packaging technique. It's more of a smoky, hazy finish. But I do want to add a little bit of liquid, so I'm going to go in with some shimmers, and they're all just in matching colors that I've already got down. And I'm just going to add a tiny bit. My problem, well, I don't want to call it a problem, but the thing here is I did not want to add any other color onto the word, because I wanted to keep it limited to the white paper. So I couldn't just go to town with the packaging because it would go right on top of the word, and I didn't want to compromise the color of that, if that makes any sense. So I'm trying to be really careful with the amount of liquid that I put down because I want to keep the word the way it is. Okay, so my first thought was I need to hand stitch around this word, but then my next thought was I don't have time to do that. I kind of limited with time these days, so I thought, you know, I'm going to do something a little bit different. So I whipped out my glue, and I'm just going to take my thread and just sort of loop it around each letter. I'm just drawing glue on with my fine liner bottle and then sticking down matching thread on top of the glue. Super easy, and it definitely looks homemade at the end, but I love it, and it's just something different to do instead of hand stitching or machine stitching, and it gives some really fun texture. And I love that I actually had matching thread for the light yellow, the darker yellow, and then the pink colors, and so I tried to keep each thread coordinating with the color in the word. And this would have looked really cool with hand stitching, but I just didn't have the time to commit to it because, you know, hand stitching takes a while, and but I felt like it needed something to outline the word, and this was perfect. And I would definitely do this again. I don't even know this is even have a name for technique, just gluing down thread. But yeah, it's just embroidery thread, and so there it's done. I think that looks so cool, and it feels really cool to the touch. So yeah, I would definitely give that a try again. I think it's fun, and so it just adds something to the title. It makes it pop and makes the edges a little bit, you know, more crisp. So now I'm going to work on embellishing, and I didn't want to add too much behind the picture because the title is pretty cool, and I don't want to take away from that. And I felt like I wanted to stick with the color scheme that I've got going with the three main colors. And I didn't want to add any more busy patterns or things like that behind the picture. So now is where I bring in some other things from the other collections. I'm going to use some things from Take Me Away. I'm going to use some of the ephemera die cuts. And that little banner fits perfectly right on top of the picture. I couldn't have planned that if I tried. It just happened. And so I have to use that because it matches and it looks perfect right there. I'm going to add the word fun in, and that is also from Take Me Away. It's from the foam phrase thickers. And then I found 3 ampersands, and they all match. The big yellow one is a wood veneer from Fancy Free. The aqua one is from Oh My Heart die cut pack, and then the pink one is from Take Me Away ephemera die cut pack. And so I just kind of layered them down. I don't even know why. Being in the pool has nothing to do with ampersands, but my title is Fabulous and Fun, and I just made it work, and I like how it looks. This is also a wood veneer from Fancy Free, and it just happened to match, and it doesn't really go with the title. Like, it's not You Are Fabulous and Fun. It's just Fabulous and Fun, and then I thought, hey, this U matches. Let's use it. So that's what I'm going to do. Now I wind up, I wish I wouldn't have used these 2 pieces of washi tape from the sticker book of Oh My Heart, because I wind up covering them up a lot, and you can't even really tell that I used them because they kind of blend in with the pink and the yellow gelato that I added on the background. But they do add a little bit of texture and interest there, but it's not very visible from here, and that's okay. That's a sticker from the sticker book that I just added in above the U wood veneer. And then I'm going to bust up into the puffy stickers because, you know, puffy stickers are just the bomb. And so, yeah. I actually have 3 packs of those because I'm obsessed with them. And I'm going to pull the little small cluster of pink and yellow flowers that match the colors and the word fabulous. And I'm going to use those around the picture, and then I'm going to add that other one underneath the word fun. And this is some blue thread that I'm going to add here, just to add some more blue up at the top since I've got all that pink and yellow. And then I'm going to add a little bit underneath that ampersand just to pull in that darker blue color. And one of the hardest part, well, I wouldn't necessarily call it hard, but something I like to pay attention to because it bugs me if I don't do it, is on a diagonal design like this, making sure that everything sort of lines up. Like I wanted fun to kind of make sure it was the same angle as fabulous, and you the same angle, and that's not glued down yet, but because if it's crooked, it's very obvious. And so hopefully I got it to where it looks halfway decent and not, hey, is that layout crooked or is it straight? So this is from the Oh My Heart ephemera pack, and I'm going to cut this die cut in half and use half on one side and half on the other. And that's a great way to make ephemera pieces stretch and make it look like you actually have more than you do. When you're layering, if you're going to cover up, I would say half of the die cut it in half, because what's the point of hiding half of it if you could use it somewhere and make it visible? Now I was going to cut out more flowers from paper 6 there, but I only wind up cutting out 2 leaves just to add to the right little cluster there, and you can't even really see them once it's all said and done, but I did use those 2 leaves. And I had a fight with my thread because I kept sticking things in there before I glued it down and my thread kept moving. And I got frustrated. I was like, ugh! And then I said, just glue it down. Just glue it down and move on. I have to give myself pep talks a lot of the time when making layouts because, yeah, I keep doing things and then I'll knock it around or I'll move it and then I can't get it back to the way it was. And I'm like, why did you just glue it down? Just glue it down. Anyway, it's glued down now. It's not going to move. And I'm going to move on. And so now I'm going to add in some more splatters. This is a Jenny B Blue Vibes, and it just coordinates with the colors. I tend to use that color pretty much on everything. That's pink stilettos that I'm using there. That's a darker pink to pull out some of that darker color. And I'm almost finished. I'm going to wrap it up with a little bit of lines here and some journaling. And I would definitely say this meets the requirement of a big title. And I just think it's a fun way to go. You know, you could also make a big quote. Doesn't have to be just one word, but there's the final layout. I love how this turned out. It was a lot of fun to put together, and I'm so glad that I did that thread gluing. I think it looks pretty cool. So that's something else you could do instead of hand stitch. If you don't want to take the time to do it, just glue some thread down. I think it looks pretty cool. So I've got lots of close-ups here. Some of these close-ups are going to be on Paige's blog. Some of them are not. I just always take too many, but here you go. You can see all the layers, all the colors, the background, and how smooth the background is versus gesso, which is gritty. So it just depends on the look you're going for. I like both of them, and I use both of them. So let me know if you have any questions. I really enjoyed doing this one, and I will be seeing you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, and have a great week.